Listen, I have a secret for you. You may not be ready to retake the bar exam. Now, for some of you, this may be an unpopular news hit. And for some of you, you knew this was coming. If you're in the camp of people that do want to be ready mentally, emotionally, to retake this bar exam, then most usefully, you'll take this video as a roadmap from point A to point B, from I'm not quite ready to I'm ready now. So here I'll go over the signs, how you can tell if you're just not ready to retake this bar exam, whether you should probably sit out one round, or if just a little nudge, a little help, a little bit of investment into some good old-fashioned hard work will get you to the place where you'll be ready. So let's dive in. I'm Jennifer DeClaire, bar exam mentor and attorney life coach, helping you to build a law life that you are absolutely in love with. I ran an experiment the last 2 or 3 weeks. I opened my calendar for free 15-minute calls to anybody who would need help. A few people reached out. And amongst these people, I noticed a theme. And it was something that I kind of suspected would happen, but I just waited to see. See, to get on the phone with me usually for the 30 to 45-minute strategy call that will cover what you've been experiencing with the bar exam, let me have the chance to do my magic and find out what's exactly blocking you. And for us together to strategize how to get past it, that call is a fee, right? Nowhere near the 3 figures that it takes to have a full-blown session with me, but to strategize, right? For me to do my woo-woo that I do and show you what's going wrong, there's a fee. And I suspected that the only reason I've been speaking to people who are ready and ripping and roaring to go on this bar exam and to beat it this time was because of the fee. See, it weeded out people who weren't quite ready. Because when you're not ready to retake the bar exam, point number 1, you are tired of investing financially, feeling financially drained and like you've just thrown good money after bad. It already feels like you wasted a whole boatload of money just taking and retaking the bar exam. But when you really add up how much you spent on supplements, switching courses, private tutors, not to mention how much you've lost from not being able to make your attorney salary all these years, you feel financially drained. Nowhere in your mind are you motivated to budget, save some, ask for a friend or family member support, or take another job. When you are at this point, believe me when I tell you, you're burnt out from the bar exam and it's time to step back. Why? In this situation, it is easy to rail against the systems that are charging for services. But think about it. If you are an attorney, let's say you work in family law, and a client comes to you and they've been through 3 different attorneys, none of whom were able to help them with their custody battle, not in the way that they would have liked to have seen. They didn't get the results that they wanted so far. They're burnt out on attorneys. They're burnt out on the other parent. They're angry at the court system that seems to be just doing everything it can to not let this person reach their goal. And then they come to you and they say, I've spent $53,000 with one attorney, $75K with another attorney, and the last attorney, I could already tell she was doing a terrible job and I cut her off, but I had already invested $27K for the retainer. I'm really burnt out on finances here. I'm just drained of every resource right here. and they are sitting across from you at an intake interview or an initial interview, you're the attorney. What would your response be? Really? Let's think about this. Would you even entertain a prospective client whose first thing they say is, I don't have any more money to spend? Then why did you book this appointment? What exactly did you hope to achieve here? Right? And so what I found is these types of bar takers who come and say, I'm already drained, I don't have any more to spend. There are a few things that are happening with them that they can rectify in order to get to that place where they realize everything in the world costs money. Only thing that's actually free is oxygen. Other than that, you're paying for it. And so what they have is not a problem with spending money. It's a problem with spending money on the bar because you're still taking showers, putting on clothes, and eating food every day. Well, you've been doing that for the last 2+, 3+ decades. Why aren't you tired of that? Why isn't it like, oh, goodness gracious, I just spent $6,000 last year to eat 3 times a day and I have to do that again this year? You don't react like that. So when it comes to the bar and spending money, that's where the problem is. It's not that you're spending money, it's what you are spending money on and your feelings associated with it. Those are the feelings that make you not ready to retake the bar. So this is not about you should want to spend money or that you should want to spend money with me. I don't need your money. There's lots of other clients to choose from. The issue is the feelings that fuel this resistance to spending money are the feelings that will keep you from doing everything else you need to do to pass the bar. So this is my sincere and blatant announcement that one sign that you're not ready to retake this bar exam is this feeling of, you guys are sucking all the money out of me. Because it's not us. You could say the same thing to your local grocer. You could say the same thing to the Starbucks barista, right? You could say the same thing to the car loan people, right? And so it's the bar, it's not the money. And so let's look at how you feel about the bar. The second thing that this slides into now is you feel victimized by the board of bar examiners. They have somehow wronged you. Even if you were able to figure out the mess and get back on the right side of it, whether it's they called you out for a mistake that you made while you were doing a remote exam, or they failed you multiple times, even though you're supposed to have passed your raw scores there, but they just seem to be taking masochistic joy off of knocking off your raw score down to a score that doesn't pass, on the scaled score. Whether it's not giving you your points that you were due on your essays, right? You did well, you compared to the model essay, it looks fine. Whether it's them refusing to regrade your essay, or whether they're giving you character and fitness runaround. You may have all sorts of stories about how the Board of Bar Examiners has wronged you. Now, the people who are retaking the bar exam, sometimes I work with people after them having tried to pass this thing for 10 years now, right? And in fact, those are our most successful stories, are the people who have been trying this for a long time because they've had time to walk through this maze of emotions that I'm walking you through right now. Everybody has a story. The difference is the people who are able to chalk up that story to whatever. They're just doing their job and really feel that. Because how would you be in that position if it were your job to do this? Would you call that person out for that violation on that remote exam? Would you tell this person they need to prove that they have reformed their financial ways before they become an attorney? Would you, if you were sitting in that group on that board, would you not do the same? It's not personal, right? What's personal is the implication that the legal field and potential clients there need to be protected from me, that feels personal, doesn't it? So as they keep you out, there's this message that they're protecting the public from you. And you got to make peace with that. Figure out some way to work through that and not take it personally, because it's not personal. They really don't know you from Adam or Eve. They're following a set of instructions. But while you're busy taking it personally, those feelings are getting in the way of you doing what you need to do to pass the bar this time. So if you are taking it as a personal affront, as a malign against your character, that the Board of Bar Examiners have done this, that, or that, all parts of their jobs, then you may need to just step back and reprocess your feelings around this bar before you try to retake it. The other sign that you are not ready, this story slides into the next one. You are more intent on telling your victim story than you are on actually getting out. So I get that we all want to feel heard and understood. And that we want to feel heard and understood before we will receive help from someone. I get that. But if you finally get an audience with an expert who knows how to help people with specifically the problem that you have, yet the majority of the time that you are speaking with that expert, you are the one doing the talking, you're not ready. Because what I know is that when I talk to someone who would normally cost $675 for an hour of their time, and I get to talk to them even for 15 minutes for free, I want to know everything that they can give me in those 15 minutes. I'm not going to waste the time hearing my own voice. And so for those people, they're more married to their story and telling their story and the response that they get to their story. They want an audience. They don't actually want help. And the fact is that you've got a really juicy story in the bar exam victimhood. You have no idea what story you will have to tell when you pass the bar and you're a normal kid like the other kids. And a lot of people are attached to their story. Now, some people have gone through some really traumatic things around the same time that they've studied for the bar exam, and those traumas have intertwined themselves with the bar. And so when they get to tell the story, they get to tell the story of how and why they haven't passed the bar exam even after years of trying. They have this really just like this tragic drama to tell. And they do, and they tell the story, and there's a pregnant pause, and they're waiting for your reaction and response. Now, this is how you can tell if you're one of those people. Catch yourself the next time you're explaining to somebody the real story of why you haven't passed the bar exam. Maybe you don't explain this to anybody except people who are tutors or practitioners such as myself in a position to help you, because other people, they won't give your story the amount of deference that it's due. Catch yourself the next time you're telling your story to someone and see if you don't pause and wait for their reaction. And see if you don't feel a little bit neglected if they don't give you the expected reaction. You know the reaction I'm talking about. Oh, how terrible. Oh, that must have been so hard. Oh, and you're expecting that. That's because you are attached to your victim story. And until you can give it a funeral, bury it, call it a day, and move on from that story, you're not ready to pass the bar. You are more invested in being able to tell that story than you are in passing the bar. You can't have both. You can either be a victim with all the reasons why you couldn't pass, or you can be a victor. And that brings us to the next factor that you need to consider if you're trying to decide whether you're ready to pass the bar or not. Can you paint the picture of victory with as much specificity as you've been painting the picture of defeat? When you tell the story of all your woes, trials, and tribulations with the bar, you have some very specific details that really paint the picture for the viewer here. Can you, even to yourself, paint the picture with specificity of what it would look like when you're studying well. I'm not even asking you to talk about what it would look like when you pass the bar and when you're practicing as an attorney. I know that's a stretch, especially if you're watching this video right now and you're someone who's considering or reconsidering taking the bar exam. I know it's a stretch to say paint with specificity, you've passed the bar, what's your life like now? I know that's a stretch. We get you there in our programs. But for right now, if you want to test yourself on whether you're ready to take this next leap, really sit down and be honest with yourself. Can I even imagine what a good study season would look like? Okay, forget the season, just a study week. What would a good study week look like? How would you feel? What would you do? Where would you be? Who would support you? Who would call you? Whose calls would you ignore? Can you paint with specificity what a good study week would look like? Because if you don't have a picture, there's nothing to hope for. And that brings us to the next factor, how you can recognize whether you're ready or not to retake the bar exam. Do you have hope? Are you hopeful? Or do you feel like no matter what I try, it's not going to work? You see, if you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work, then what's the point in talking to someone like me or a tutor or anyone else? When you reach out on the phone to speak with somebody who is an expert in their field and knows how to help people like you to get to where you want to go, but you have the attitude of nothing is going to help, you are sending those vibes out over the phone, over the video chat, through the email. And you start arguing for that premise that nothing is going to help. Listen, we are all spiritual beings in a human body having a human experience. If you send vibes, we will receive those vibes. And if you send the vibes that nothing is going to help me, I'm going to hear there's nothing I can do to help her. There's nothing else I can do. I'm not going to argue with you over your own beliefs. If you believe nothing can help you, who am I to try and prove you wrong? You are a human being independent with your own independent thoughts. And if that's what you choose to believe for yourself, who am I to come in, try to arm wrestle you to change your beliefs? I mean, you're calling back the days of Protestants versus Catholics, killing each other because they didn't believe what the other one wanted them to believe. We're not here for that. If you don't believe anything can help you, then do not reach out to someone like me, hoping that I will fight you on it. I'm here to support you with what you want. And if you don't believe anything can help you, then we will not match. And if we can't match, I can't help you. I will tell you I can't help you. I've told people that before. I will tell people that again. Because to be able to be helped, especially in the way that I help, you need to be in a specific mental and emotional state. One where you are ready to be helped. And that's it. You don't have to be Superwoman. You don't have to be a man with a plan. You don't have to even know how. You don't have to know how. We take care of the how. All you need to do is say, I'm willing to see what can happen for me. Let's do this. If you are willing to see what could happen for you, that means you have some level of hope. If you are already in despondence and despair, then you would say nothing that happens can be good. And you wouldn't be willing to go down that road. I mean, unless if you're a masochist. So if you say, I'm willing to see what would happen, I'm willing to just see if there's something here for me, that hope is worth something. That's why people pay the $90 that it is today to have that 30-minute strategy session with me, because there's hope. And that hope is worth putting a few dollars behind. And $90 is a token, but it does the effective job of separating those who are ready from those who are not. Because most people who are not, they won't even spend $5. because despair is despair. Feeling despondent is being despondent. There's no use putting even 5 pennies to it. And so my experiment in taking down the price store to get a little audience with me has been very entertaining on my end, because I've been able to, confirm what I already know, and yet at the same time, just talk to. I love talking with people. I really do. I really do. Not mad at anybody to think that you're wasting my time. If it was a waste of time, I wouldn't do it. I love myself too much for that. If I'm doing something, there's something in there, that I'm enjoying. But it's been very interesting to be reintroduced to that side of the bar where, I don't often, but for a few days here, I've been speaking with people who truly aren't ready to retake it. What's sad is that, for many during this 15-minute call, the only thing I can do is try and communicate this knowledge that you're not ready. Some of them already have in their mind the openness that it may be 6 months to a year before I am ready to truly pass, even though they're hoping they can sit for the next exam. But every once in a while, there's that one that says, if I don't pass, I'm going to lose this job. I have to pass this next time. And yet, they spent 14 out of the 15 minutes telling me their victim story and speaking over me when I tried to give them help. Then you're not ready for help. If when the person is trying to give you help, you cut them off and go back to your story, right? Nothing against talk therapy at all. In fact, if you are in this place and you don't know how to get out of it, go to a therapist. Okay, I'm not a therapist. But if you find yourself in therapy, having been in therapy for a few years, and the therapist has attempted to help you with the anxiety or the dread or the issues surrounding the bar exam, right? And you're still in therapy and you still haven't passed the bar exam, that is another sign that you're more married to your story than you are actually passing the bar. Because most people who are ready to pass the bar, they have their therapist and they come to me too, because they know they are two different things. Coaching to pass the bar exam, even if it's a mindset coaching, is very different from therapy. And so nothing against therapy at all. In fact, there are some people I speak to, I tell them, you need to go do therapy first, right? But there is a point at which you've moved up the spectrum enough with therapy that you're now ready to make good use of coaching. Because think about coaching. Olympic athletes, basketball stars, ice skating figure champions. I mean, this is coaching. Coaching brings you to conquering, to being a champion. Think of therapy, physical therapy, respiratory therapy. You get it? Therapy brings you to a point of normalcy. Then you go for coaching to get to that point of excellence. And if you are a law school graduate attempting to pass the bar exam, you are going for excellence. You could have a much easier life doing a whole lot of other things besides having to pass a bar exam. If you're going for the bar, you're going for something high. You're going for a high bar, okay? And so coaching is completely normal for this sort of a goal. Completely normal. But it's coaching, different from therapy. So again, nothing against therapy. I will send you to therapists in a quickness if I think that that's where you're going to get the most help at this moment. Nothing against therapy. But one thing to look into is if you have been in therapy for years and years and years and years, and you haven't moved on to coaching, that might be a sign that you are happier to relive your victim story day in and day out than you are to actually change and go for the things that you want. Big red flag if you don't even know what it is that you want. Now, some people tell me the story that their therapists have told them, why are you still here? That's part and parcel of what we've just spoken about. Therapy gets you to normalcy. Once you're at normal, why are you still there? Some it's because they don't know what's next. Next is coaching. If you still want to go, but you need that support, you need that guardian around you, you need that cheerleading, you need that light bulb moment of not realizing what was blocking you, and now you know what it is, and oh my goodness, why didn't I think about it myself? But in the realm of moving to excellence, not because, oh, there's something wrong with me and I'm broken, but you're completely normal. Other humans on this earth are happy to live the life that you're living right now, but you want more. This is you going for excellence. This is you needing a coach. That's it. So I've covered in this video some telltale signs that you can look into, that I've noticed from my years of experience and with working with hundreds of you, that you might not be ready to retake the bar. As you may know, I was a bar retaker. And some of those things that I've listed off from you, I too struggled with, went through, moved out of. I remember when I thought that the board had it in for me, the board of bar examiners. I remember when I thought, isn't it convenient that my scale score always drops just a few points below what I need to pass? I remember thinking that way, right? So there's no judgment. There's information. And I hope that you can take this information, process it, see where it is that you are. And if you want to move from one to the other, if you are ready and you just don't know what your next steps are to get from not ready to pass the bar and get to, I am ready to retake it. You know, if you need to get from one to the other and you just don't know what it takes to get there, our programs is not it, because our programs are for people who are at the place where they are ready to retake it emotionally, financially, mentally, and, you know, we might get you some help with getting your circumstances in order and getting your schedule in order and, you know, getting your boss to, you know, lay off a little bit and the things that you need to do to get ready. But you're ready to get ready versus the world is against me. I have my story. I'm more interested in talking and telling my story than I am in listening and getting help. If you're there and you want to move over to where you're ready to even think about getting coaching, this in between here, I'll tell you what to do. You're likely on a YouTube video or my vlog or some channel somewhere. Look at the other stuff. You don't have to do anything but press play and listen. Honestly, Spirit speaks, it'll hit you exactly where you need. It'll start moving things and shifting things, and thought processes will start to transform without you doing anything but just hitting play and listening. It might be even in the background. It doesn't matter. The messages get through to you. That's why I'm super careful what I spend my time listening to on the radio and on TV, because that stuff sinks in whether you think you're paying attention or not. So if you're in this place where you've realized that I might not be ready to retake this bar exam, but I want to get ready, then after this is over, move on to the next video, move on to the next page, continue taking in this information. Even if it seems off topic from where you are right now, the fact is that there are myriad topics that need some shifting in order for you to feel emotionally ready to do this with hope. And so listen to all the videos you can get your hands on and let those little shifts come in one by one by one. They will add up to you being ready to have hope again, to tackle this with a glass half full sort of a viewpoint, right? Now, with that, right, you are ready to ask for help to pass the bar, right? So binge these videos, go read the articles. If you're not already in the Facebook group, go in there and start going through the history of posts. Watch all the videos. There's even more videos in the Facebook group, okay? This is what I have for you. It will help. It's the reason why people kind of hang around for at least a year before they come into the actual coaching, is because sometimes they just need to drink in all that information and get ready to be coached to pass the bar. That's what I have for you. Contact us on Facebook and Instagram. We're on all the channels if you need to speak with us directly. Bye for now.